air pollution is something, once these toxins, this black carbon, imagine these black carbon kind of smoke particles are entering your bloodstream. From our bloodstream, it travels to our brain, our heart. It travels through the entire body.
It's all inside you then.
So all these people often ask me these new age diseases of infertility and autoimmune disease and what is the cause of all these things, and all the new age cancers and all that. It's the air. It's the air. We are making a trade-off in the name of development. We are compromising our quality of life.
Our today's guest is Mr. Dhar Gupta, who is a serial entrepreneur and a graduate from Wharton Business School. He is also an environmental activist who has worked on the pollution of Delhi NCR for last 10 years. He also has a brand called Nirvana Being, which is making products to combat air pollution. Very interestingly, he is also now moving his residence next to Rajaji National Park, where he'll be living very close to nature. Please keep watching till the end for all the interesting stories and subscribe us for more such interesting content. Hello sir, welcome to the Gut Feel Show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Pranav. As good as one can do in an AQI of 400.
Yeah, that is something which is terrible and is going to just increase in the next few days.
Yeah.
So one very important thing I want to begin with is your journey and how did you begin this awareness in the air pollution domain?
Yeah, I would love to tell you, being an environmental science major, I would love to tell you that I was aware, but actually this was something that really smacked me down. I mean, back in 2013, I was training to run a marathon. It's something I wanted to do, run an international marathon at the place of its origin in Athens, in Greece. And made a plan with all my friends, and I was training. And I remember that day I had done a long run. I had run about 15 kilometers that morning. It was the month of October. I don't remember the exact date. But in the evening, I could feel like a constriction in my air passages.
Okay.
And I could hear a whistling sound coming out of my chest. Like a wheeze, like a very strong wheeze.
Whenever you're breathing in, breathing out, that sound of it.
Exactly. And, I just thought, hey, maybe I won't run for 2-3 days, maybe I've overdone it, exerted myself or something. But that night, I was having difficulty breathing. I had to be rushed to the hospital. At the hospital, they found a patch in my lungs. There was a fluid collection in my lungs. They found that my lung function was down by 40%, and this is when I was at peak fitness and health.
Wow.
This is at that time. So it was just mind baffling, how can this happen to somebody who's in peak fitness, peak health? I mean, I wouldn't even break a sweat, when I ran like 10 kilometers. My heart rate would not kind of reach, 150 running 10 kilometers. The body had become super efficient. Yeah. And for this to happen, I was just trying to connect the dots ki ho kya raha hai, what, why, how could this happen? And actually,
this was in which year?
2013.
Okay.
And it wasn't until 2014 that I connected the dots of two conversations, one with a physician in Singapore and another with somebody I was with on a camping trip, somebody from the American embassy. And she said something, she was wearing a mask and we were completely away from habitation. At least I didn't feel any pollution. And she was wearing a mask and she started to talk about PM 2.5. And I immediately kind of, started questioning her, like, what is PM 2.5? I mean, when I studied environmental science, there was no PM 2.5.
Something very new.
Yeah, as our fuels become smarter, our pollutants become smarter as well, I say. And, I came back home from that camping trip and I started Googling PM 2.5 and it, spoke about, hey, wear a mask to create a barrier. That's what I did and I felt a lot better. Then I installed an air purifier in my room. I felt a lot better. Then I bought an air quality monitor to always kind of stay on top of the air. So it's just one thing led to another. So I would love to tell you it was foresight and I saw things getting bad and all of that. But, frankly, I'm not that smart. It was my lungs that kind of knocked me down.
That was your trigger point to begin with.
Huge trigger point. First I became a clean air activist out of it because I felt like this is a big deal. People's children are getting impacted. My son was already asthmatic at that point. So, I was this very emotional, passionate father that was fighting for this big cause. And so first I became an activist. I realized that, people are not interested in this topic. People would much rather filter the 2 liters of water they drink in a day, but not filter the 12,000 liters of air that they consume in a day.
12,000 liters?
12,000 liters. 24,000 breaths of half a liter each is what we consume in a day. Oh. Okay? And if you're active like me, you're probably pulling at least 16 to 20,000 liters in a day.
Wow.
If you're doing anything cardiovascular. So 12,000 liters of air, even in weight, is 14 kilograms of air. Okay, so I keep telling people that, there are only 3 raw materials we consume in a day: food, water, and air. And food and water combined will be 6 to 8 liters, maybe not even 6 to 8 liters. But air is 12,000 liters. उसको छोड़ो खाने और पानी को और इस पे focus करो.
So I somehow feel a very strong correlation in this thing, because food and water is visible. And so people have some attraction to, some awareness at least about the things that are visible. Air is not visible and people are unaware about it. The same thing happens with mental health. Physical health is something which is visible. For a fracture, you will go to a doctor.
Yes.
For your mental health, which is not visible,
right,
people are completely ignorant about it. So I've just felt a correlation.
And even mental health is anyway a neglected science in India. We just feel like the family support systems will take care of it.
Yeah, for granted.
We take it for granted that the family support systems will take care of it. But a lot of the times it's the family support system that's creating the problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, and not to digress, but coming back to this, no, so certainly, also if you have contaminated water or food, you get sick instantly.
Immediately.
Right?
Yeah.
The problem with air is that it's a slow and silent killer. So, it'll come up in the form of allergy or wheezing or, eye irritation or a headache. And then, the bigger problems related to air pollution, because, this is like a constant toxin entering our body, right, through the air passages.
Yeah.
And once it's inside the lungs, it moves through the alveoli into the bloodstream. So imagine these black carbon nanoparticles that are in your, your ceiling fan, the black soot that you see, that's PM 2.5. That's what I'm talking about. So that is entering our body with every breath. So even where we are in this room right now with an air purifier, our current PM 2.5 level is 69, whereas the safe level by WHO is 5. Wow. And the only safe level of PM 2.5 is actually 0, because even a level of 1 is unsafe for you, because it's black carbon in the air. How can that be safe for you at any level?
Absolutely. It just this number, even 70, 69 is now looking scary to me.
No, it is scary, because when you go from a level of 20 to a level of 30, you increase your chances of getting something like a COPD or a lung cancer or a heart disease by 30 to 40%. You have a 30 to 40% greater chance. So I don't understand what we're going to do in Delhi, because our average annual levels are about 130, 140, which is off the charts. And what we are dealing with here is actually long-term exposure. Absolutely. It's not a quick Diwali 2-day blip where you see this spike and you come down. Our levels from Dussehra to Holi are off the charts constantly. 250 is a good day between Dussehra and Holi.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we are talking about long-term exposure. So anyway,
I think these signs that you're mentioning, people start blaming them to everything else apart from air pollution, the eye allergy, different things.
No, of course.
People ignore the air pollution. They're like, it's happening from the mobile or the laptop.
Nobody's cause of death on a death certificate is air pollution.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is what I mean.
Yeah. And that's possibly the reason that a lot of COVID deaths were unreported as well, right?
Food poisoning is a thing, and so people are scared about it.
Yeah.
No one is ever scared that air pollution se death ho gaya.
Yeah, and air pollution is something, once these toxins, this black carbon, imagine these black carbon kind of smoke particles are entering your bloodstream. From our bloodstream, it travels to our brain, our heart. It travels through the entire body.
It's all inside you then.
So all these people often ask me these new age diseases of infertility and autoimmune disease and what is the cause of all these things, and all the new age cancers and all that. It's the air. It's the air. We are making a trade-off in the name of development. We are compromising our quality of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we've completely upset the carbon cycle, right? We need more and more land to grow our food. Jungle ko kaarte raho. We need more and more highways to for our cars. We want 12-lane expressways, and soon we'll require 50-lane expressways. You keep cutting the trees. You need more concretization. So you upset the carbon cycle, right? One is ki in the name of industrialization and your vehicles, your fossil fuel emissions have gone up. But that carbon sink, which was the forests and the trees, even that is getting wiped out. Yeah. So what is going to maintain that balance and that equilibrium now? We don't have it anymore. That's climate change, by the way.
That's climate
What I just described to you is climate change. Your CO2, your carbon in the air is going up. And it's causing greenhouse effect. Your surfaces are heating, your oceans are heating. That's why we're getting all these extreme kind of weather events.
And I think since listening to all this, I feel going forward it's going to be very difficult living in cities, and in Delhi NCR maybe especially the pollution levels in the next 5-10 years are going to rise dramatically. So what do people do? Like a lot of people want to move out, but because of work they are stuck in the cities. So I think air purifiers and masks are the solutions for now, I think.
Look, for the foreseeable future, it's not just air purifiers and masks. Also, people need to, really think through, what am I driving? If I'm driving a diesel vehicle, one diesel vehicle has the emission of 9 petrol vehicles. I've been driving an EV since 1998. I got the first EV in India in 1998.
Wow.
I'm very clear. I don't want to shit in my own bed. Why would I use a car with an exhaust and put that exhaust into my own mouth? It makes no sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
How people don't understand, if you have children, if you have parents, if you care for yourself, how can you drive a vehicle with an exhaust? I don't care what fuel is inside it. Because every fuel, they're all fossil fuels, whether it's a petrol or a CNG or a diesel, they're all fossil fuels. One burns dirtier than the other, but they're all fossil fuels.
Yeah.
How are you okay driving a vehicle with a fossil fuel? So you're shitting where you sleep.
Change begins at home. That is what you're doing.
Change begins at home. If you're doing something, if you're barbecuing when the AQI is 400, you're part of the problem.
Yeah,
if in December, after December 20th till January, if it gets really, really cold, which it will, if you have the means, put on a nice fleece or a down jacket or whatever, don't light a fire.
Oh, yeah.
Because every poor person deserves the right to light a fire, and they will, because they don't have heaters and they don't have the kind of layering that you and I do. So it's not rocket science. This is a man-made problem. This is not a natural disaster. This is not an earthquake or a volcano erupting. Yeah. This is a very predictable event. Episode 1 happens in the last week of October, and it lasts till about for about a month maximum. Yeah. And episode 2 will happen in late December, once we get those bitter cold environment where everybody starts burning to stay warm. I'm talking about the poor person. And also, the colder the temperature is, the lower our emissions, our local emissions also remain.
And it'll settle down more.
And I want to be very clear, this is a 365-day problem. We may have these 2 episodes that are peak episodes, but the safe level of 5, which is the WHO level for PM 2.5, we don't even come close to it on a good day. Yeah. Our best day, we will see a PM 2.5 of 30 or 35. So we are still 700% of the safe level.
Wow.
And this is what we are raising our children in.
Absolutely. It is scary. Sounds scary.
Nobody seems to care. You say it's scary. Yeah, I think it's scary. I've been trying to tell people for 10 years it's scary. But, I don't see a vote bank that's demanding clean air. Yeah. I don't see a politician or a health minister or a environment minister or an education minister saying, we've hit a public health emergency. I saw more action for COVID, which actually is a much lesser problem than air pollution.
Yeah.
Air pollution takes more lives every year than COVID ever did or ever will.
And sir, I remember you were the one who moved the AEL Marathon from November to October. What was that? Can you explain that?
No, so since I'm a runner and since my lungs got compromised as a result of running in poor air, I don't know if you remember, but back then the AEL Half Marathon was scheduled for the 3rd Sunday of every November.
Yes, I remember.
Okay. which was always guaranteed to be an AQI over 400.
Yeah,
Also, it's
absolutely.
at 7 in the morning or something like that, if I remember correctly.
Peak of air pollution.
It's not only the peak of the air pollution time, it's also the peak of the day.
It's the complete worst timing.
It's completely illogical, right? It's like what they did by scheduling a World Cup match in Delhi in the first week of November, which is today.
Yeah.
Bangladesh versus Sri Lanka. Obviously, the people who are planning have no clue about health and safety compliance.
Yeah.
They are just doing things assuming ki sab kuch badhiya hai. Everything is good. So, I just felt like this was a good way. My approach always has been that awareness precedes change.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That is true.
And by changing such a big event and such a beautiful event of Delhi, I feel like it's not the AEL half marathon anymore. I think Vedanta's taken over.
Vedanta, yes.
So, two things happened as a result of me approaching the court. Unfortunately, my timing was really bad. I approached the court on the Friday before the race. So, literally 48 hours before the race. So, the Chief Justice at the time, I even forget his name, this was in 2015. He said, look, it's too late. All the foreign international runners have come in. It's too late to note this. But the organizers should take note that this is ludicrous. It makes no sense. I had even projected data to the court from Max Healthcare, which is their healthcare partner, on how many really fit and healthy people had died from a cardiac arrest in the previous, AEL half marathon, which people were not aware of. And I had heard a doctor from Max Healthcare telling me at an informal dinner that they had so many cardiac arrests that it was completely out of hand. Like they were throwing anybody they had at these people who were going into cardiac arrest. Neurosurgeons were thrown into cardiac arrest patients because they were like, ye ho kya raha hai?
It's so crowded.
It was so crowded. They couldn't manage it. A lot of people died. Now, this kind of stuff never hits the headlines.
No one talks about it.
No one talks about it. So, the Chief Justice was like, look, organizers, take note. This is a valid problem and absolutely the wrong time. So, as a result of that, the following year, AEL said goodbye Tata to ProCam. They said, we don't want to be a part of, sponsoring this event. And they themselves moved the event to the third Sunday of October.
Oh.
So it wasn't a court order, but we got what we wanted anyway.
It got negotiated.
Yeah. Logic prevailed. It didn't get negotiated, logic prevailed.
I think everyone saw that.
Yeah, what I was saying was logical. I wasn't, presenting something that was a bias or a,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so what are your plans going forward? Like, are you moving out of these cities? What is your plan?
Yeah, unfortunately, Pranav, I have come to a point, and maybe COVID was the kind of the last nail in the coffin. I want to be closer to nature now and away from humans. I think all of the problems, health-related problems, are coming from other humans, be it COVID or be it air pollution. So I've made a conscious decision during COVID to kind of shift to my plan B.
Okay.
So I'm creating India's first private forest reserve.
Wow.
This is inside a tiger reserve at the Rajaji Tiger Reserve, close to Dehradun and Haridwar, in the middle of Dehradun and Haridwar. And what I am doing is actually buying up revenue lands in the buffer zone and actually rewilding them. Rewilding means...
so it's still a wild land.
No, rewilding means these are agricultural lands that literally are on the border. You'll have the wall of the forest on the land, or maybe not even a wall. It's just open land, agricultural land. So I'm buying these lands, and with a team of ecologists, I am reforesting them with the native tree species and shrubs of that area. So I have a brilliant team that supports me in my madness and my dreams.
How big is this land?
So the first piece of land that we are rewilding is 46 acres.
Wow.
Yeah, and I plan to live there as well.
You're making
in a very humble, small home that I'm making there, using vernacular materials and vernacular architecture. So like the Gujjars make their homes with rammed earth and whatnot. It'll have all the comforts that I'm used to, but I want to go local with local materials, just living more intelligently, more consciously.
I'm more close to nature actually.
My two goals are rewilding and coexistence. So I want to live with animals. I want to experience, ecological succession.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you saw the movie Avatar, the first one. Do you remember when you walk the land, the earth under you lights up?
Yeah.
That already happens on my land.
Oh.
And this is the first year after we planted the trees. Everywhere I'm walking, there's living things getting out of the way.
Oh.
For the first time in my life, I understand the meaning of the words treading lightly on land.
Oh.
Okay, I mean that magic is already starting to happen. Trust me, it is so rewarding to create a forest.
I'm sure. I can
You
just
see
imagine.
things that and you learn things that, your curiosity is like that engine of mine is getting fired up like you won't believe.
It's a dream plan.
Oh, it's insane. It's insane. The things that I see, depending on the changing times. I mean, on July 8th, when the major downpour came, my water hole had this crazy decibel levels of frogs. Crazy. Okay, in the middle of the night. It was so bad that I didn't even have the guts. Like instinctively, something told me, yaar, if something is attracting this much attention, observe it from a distance, don't go close. When I went to my water hole at 6:30 in the morning in light, there were snakes there having a feeding frenzy on the frogs.
Whoa.
Insane. I mean, I would have never imagined.
There's a snake party.
There was a whole, lions feeding on a zebra or something. You've seen those images. These are like snakes having a feeding frenzy on the frogs. And my God, I mean, it was nothing in life prepares you for that kind of, like, oh my God.
But I think that is what you're going there for.
Oh, absolutely.
You're going for all the crazy thing that nature has to offer.
Not crazy, but just beautiful. Natural. How, what I said to you, the network of mutuality, this interdependence. And, I got to tell you, just by working like a farmer, because when I'm there, I'm either de-weeding or I'm planting trees, I'm doing something to, enhance the quality of my forest, right? I think I understand fitness has always been very important to me.
Yes.
Pure natural fitness with pure natural body movements. My God, I am 20 years younger than I was 3 years ago. Because, it's called biohacking.
Yeah.
But I have found the perfect biohack. Create your own bloody forest.
Yeah.
You'll biohack. You'll never die. I feel like I'll never die.
Oh, wow. You're feeling so much of joy.
I'm feeling so much of joy. It's a natural high.
I would love to have this kind of an experience and would love to see your place because the imagination is only so beautiful right now.
Yeah.
I can see that this place has so much to offer.
I think we should have done this podcast in the biosphere.
I would love to do the season 2 there. I would love to come there.
For your viewers, it's called the Rajaji Ragati Biosphere.
Okay.
You can Google it. You can at least see the location. We have some pictures up. It's a very young forest right now.
So maybe next season we'll do at your place.
Done.
We'll do that.
Done. I think we got to talk about how to create a forest.
We'll see it from the closest as much as we can.
Yes. And it's amazing how even the leopards and the elephants have developed like a, when I say coexistence, the instincts of these animals is so good. I have woken up on days with, a leopard or a pair of leopards just sitting outside my door. I mean, it's like you develop an equation, like a chemistry, right? They're comfortable around you.
They know that you are here.
You're comfortable around them and you're like, okay, now we're good. Now we're neighbors.
Yeah, they know that you're not here to harm.
Yeah, you tolerate me and I tolerate you, or you enjoy me and I enjoy you.
I think that's such a beautiful bonding that you're making. Wow, it's amazing.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah.
Wow, it's giving me goosebumps already listening to your stories. Would love to visit that place and see all the beautiful things that you experience.
My problem is when friends and family visit me, then they want to visit me every month. Then I'm like, yaar, ab ruk jao, like kaam karne do.
Wow. Also want to know from you, what is the impact of air pollution on the mind? Is there any repercussion that the air pollution is also causing on the mind in this chaos that happens post Diwali maybe? What is that is happening?
See, I mean, the first thing, when you see the grayness all around you, it's a downer.
Yeah.
It's a downer. Mentally, emotionally, it's a downer. I mean, even physically. I mean, I don't even feel like working out because you just know that it's not the right environment.
Yeah.
And if you stop being physical, and one of the first things that I post when I issue health advisories is limit activity and exposure. Limit, those are my 4 words. Limit, on my health advisories, limit activity. So if you're not active, if children are not active, just think about it, what's going to happen. It's not just obesity, their mental, physical development will not happen. And that's what we are saying, right? कि अब बच्चों को, बंद कर दो. Now, there is a downside.
Anxiety.
That there is a downside to band kar do as well. When we are sitting in a closed room like this, you have a huge accumulation of carbon dioxide, right?
Absolutely.
Through a biological process of, respiration, we are consuming all the oxygen in a room and we're starting to live in, very high carbon dioxide environments. This is a huge problem. So, when I talk about air pollution, I'm not only talking about PM 2.5, which is the black carbon nanoparticle in the air that enters our body through the air passage, but I'm also talking about CO2. Because the moment we start shutting ourselves into these boxes, these rooms, or office cubicles where there is a split AC or there is an air purifier, so all the room doors and windows have been shut because that's the only way these technologies work. You're creating a huge carbon dioxide problem. So for me, when somebody asks me, hey, how do I solve my air pollution problem? It's not a solution for just the pollutants in the air. It's also a solution to bring filtered fresh air into the room so that you manage. So you're mitigating not only, PM 2.5, you're mitigating CO2 as well. And carbon dioxide is a huge problem because it just fogs your mind. It creates confusion. Just imagine 30, 40 children are sitting in almost, every classroom of Delhi right now with a split AC or an air purifier on, with a classroom that's closed, rebreathing each other's air. Those children are not even present. They're brain dead. Okay, I can guarantee you, the ambient.
Not listening.
They are not listening. They are completely brain dead. They cannot have focus in carbon dioxide levels. In my child's classroom, I have measured CO2 levels over 3,000 parts per million. What is outside is 410 parts per million. What is considered good indoor is what's outside plus 350. So let's call it 800 parts per million. You need to be under 800 parts per million carbon dioxide levels for your brain to fire. Okay, why do I enjoy running outdoors as opposed to running on a treadmill indoors? It's because my brain fires, that high levels of oxygen and the additional oxygen, because I'm breathing 20 times the amount of air. My respiration is high, what we call the runner's high. You get it outdoors, you don't get it indoors unless you have like a mechanical solution of filtered fresh air, pumping direct oxygen on you and mitigating the CO2 levels. So having to engineer solutions for it to create, we can't even open a window anymore. How sad is that? Okay, our children don't.
We want more and more windows, but we can't open them.
We are moving more and more towards a sedentary lifestyle. Let's call a spade a spade. The only 6 months of the year where you can actually be outdoors and be active outdoors is from Dussehra to Holi. Right? This is the same time that we can't be outdoors. And we have to lock ourselves indoors. So now, are you telling me that this is the quality of life that we want in Delhi and this is why we're paying, 10, 20, 50 crores for a home in Delhi? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. I mean, I can give you the counter argument very convincingly that it doesn't make sense.
It does not.
Go live in a place which, is just naturally more in tune with humans. I mean, nature को तो हमने खत्म ही कर दिया है यहाँ पर, right? Like we've removed nature from our life in Delhi. Our only interaction with nature is like a very ornamental nature in like a Lodi garden. That's not nature. That's ornamental flora.
True.
That's not true nature. You want to experience nature, you go to a tiger reserve, you go to a bioreserve. You go to a natural native species habitat if you want to experience nature. We are not even interacting with nature anymore. So how can you have, good mental health here? You've lost your connection. You've lost your connection. You are only living in a world where you're motivated by, selfishness and greed. If you've lost your connection with nature. So, I mean, to your, viewers and listeners, I just say, hey, man, just reconnect with nature. The number of people who haven't even visited, our local biodiversity parks, like the Aravali Biodiversity Park or the Sanjay one. We have some fantastic examples of, biodiversity parks right here. And then they are for free. I mean, it doesn't even cost you money to go there. Just go there and reconnect. Because, frankly, for me, the Aravali Biodiversity Park is the only place in Delhi where I feel like a natural high.
Yeah, it is because it is close to nature. It is not like an ornamental.
It's a native forest.
Yeah, it is a native
There's
forest.
nothing ornamental in that forest.
Yeah.
It's only native species of shrubs and grasses and trees.
Yeah.
So you see the birds and the bees. Heck, I've seen wolves there. I've seen... I've seen wolves. Not a wolf. A jackal or a fox. Something around that genre. Yeah. But they have had leopards in that Aravali Biodiversity Park. Maybe I shouldn't be talking about it. This is insider information. But even the flowers, the smells, it kind of plays with all my senses, and it gives me a natural high.
People are forgetting to feel this, that what you're talking about, the play with the senses, is something we're forgetting about, because that is only which you can experience when you are in nature, and which is reduced dramatically. Like there hardly anything's happening around that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're ever feeling, anxious or stressed, or you're, having trouble sleeping, I mean, just get close to nature. I mean, it's like a magic kind of trick that's worked for me each and every time.
Forest therapy,
forest bathing, forest therapy. Just hug a tree.
Yeah.
Just hug a nice tree. You feel such amazing, natural energies from a tree. Just go hug a tree. I mean, I'm sounding like an extreme kind of tree hugger now from, Berkeley or somewhere, but the solutions are all there. Yeah. We've just lost our connection with the solutions.
Let's go back to the roots and let's experience this. Yeah. I love your advice, and I love talking to you, sir. I'm really looking forward to our next season at your biodiversity park, like as your resident, which is in the forest. Would love to see that and have a conversation there.
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
Thank you so much. It was amazing talking to you.
Yes, likewise. Thank you.
Thank you for watching till the end. Please comment below and let us know the topics that you are interested in. We'll invite guests and discuss those topics in depth. And please like, subscribe and share with at least one person, because your one share can help that person transform their life. Thank you so much.